Straight ahead on 12 News, some Brooklyn Park residents who are not so wild about wild turkeys.
See, after you plant, they like to get in there and scratch and just make a mess.
Plus, some Brooklyn Center students practicing for a trip of a lifetime. But first, a verdict in a case of a Brooklyn Park man accused of assaulting a police officer. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. A Brooklyn Park man faces prison time for what prosecutors are calling a vicious attack on a police officer.
Today, a jury returned a guilty verdict in the case. Reporter Sonia Goins is at the Hennepin County Government Center with more. Sonia?
Now, Mike and Shannon, the jury began deliberating at 10 this morning. It didn't take them long to find 25-year-old Lance Carr guilty of first-degree assault and use of deadly force against a peace officer. Now, the incident began on November 29th when police went to this townhome complex after someone complained about noise coming from a parked car. The criminal complaint says Carr was in the vehicle. Officers found out Carr had an outstanding warrant and tried to arrest him. During the arresting process, officials say Carr punched Officer Sean Hyman several times. They also say Carr put Officer Hyman in a chokehold, threatening his life. Carr also got a hold of Hyman's gun. It discharged, but no one was hit. Meanwhile, attorney Mike Freeman says he's pleased with today's verdict.
This is vicious, and this officer really kept his cool. Thank God the backup came right away. It's kind of amazing. A lot of times people throw one punch or two and then get their wits about them saying they're beating up a cop. And you know, that the odds are not in your favor when you're beating up a cop. Something's going to happen, and it isn't good for you.
Officer Hyman has been with the Brooklyn Park Police Department for over 2 years. His injuries were so bad he was off duty for a short time. Meanwhile, Carr is expected to be sentenced on June 30th. Live in Minneapolis, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
All right, Sonia, thank you. Well, Plymouth is in the midst of an organizational transformation.
Last year, the city's police and fire department merged under one leadership head, and now the city is figuring out how to move forward, particularly with its fire service. Many Plymouth residents may not have noticed any difference with police and fire service due to last year's merger. What will change is behind the scenes, especially with things like budgets, equipment, and personnel staffing.
The operational pieces are still being worked out as far as sharing certain workloads. Not so much, you know, police officers doing firefighters work and vice versa. Those things will still stay separated, but there are other training opportunities, HR opportunities, other sort of administrative and some operational cross-training.
The Public Safety Department is also focused on the city's growth and how to meet the demands of a larger city, especially improving fire response times.
We're getting an early snapshot at what the future Brookview Community Center in Golden Valley will look like. City Council on Tuesday night approved design plans for the new facility. The current Brookview Community Center will stay open while construction occurs on the new one. Construction is expected to start in October. The public will get a chance to view the design at an open house scheduled for June 14th from 5:30 to 7 at the Brookview Community Center. Around the turn of the 20th century, wild turkeys in Minnesota were non-existent.
But programs in the 70s and 80s to restore wild turkey populations in the state have led to a resurgence of the bird. As Delane Cleveland reports, they're a common sight in neighborhoods, but they're not always welcome.
It was pretty cool at first. I couldn't believe how big they are.
Near the banks of the Mississippi River in Brooklyn Park is a suburban landscape where humans and wildlife coexist.
Where's the birds? Where's the ducks?
That includes birds of prey and birds more commonly associated with the dinner table.
It's common. They're kind of everywhere.
Heather Hone-Payne says she sees flocks of turkeys along West River Road at least once a week.
Probably about 12 or 15 at once. They've been in the path, but the minute they see it coming, they kind of gobble off, so to speak.
Experts say the wooded area along the river allows them to thrive.
If we're not hitting them or hurting them or, hurting our cars, or they're not getting killed, I think it's fine.
But that's not the case everywhere. In this Brooklyn Park neighborhood, turkeys are considered a nuisance.
The turkey droppings, and like my neighbor said that she saw 35 of them in a group, and another dozen or so that are ready to have babies.
Catherine Broso has lived in this area for 12 years, where neighbors aren't shy about their disdain for the big brown bird.
After you plant, they like to get in there and scratch and just make a mess.
According to officials from the Department of Natural Resources,
their growth has pretty much been steadily upward to now where it's sort of plateauing.
The population may be plateauing, but there's still a typical site around the metro, considering that turkeys have few predators and they're typically not hunted within city limits.
Turkey survival rates are good, and then they also have access to reliable food sources like bird feeders.
He says the best advice for people who are dealing with nuisance turkeys is to remove their food source and harass them if they come around.
You can spray them with a hose, wear legal, some type of sound devices to scare them away.
Otherwise, people can just learn to appreciate them.
Well, we figured too they were here first.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Officials from the DNR estimate that there are more than 30,000 wild turkeys living in Minnesota. The heaviest concentration is found in the southeastern part of the state.
A Twin Cities nonprofit is celebrating a teen success story. Headway Emotional Health Services recently had its first graduate from its Adolescent Treatment Center in Brooklyn Center, which opened last fall. Headway provides mental health services for teens. It also partners with Intermediate School District 287 to provide education to help students who don't thrive in a traditional school setting.
There just is such a great need in the community for kids with mental health needs to have a place where they can go to school and get their mental health needs met at the same time.
Headway serves 40 students in grades 7 through 12 at its Brooklyn Center facility and is already at capacity.
For more than 25 years, high school art students in Plymouth have helped a nonprofit shelter and feed people in need. This year, pottery class students created more than 700 bowls for the Empty Bowls event at Wayzata High School. It's so popular they actually ran out last year, and they want to make sure there is enough. The 24th annual Empty Bowls event is a big fundraiser for interfaith outreach in Plymouth. For students, it becomes more than an art class.
The goal of Empty Bowls as an organization is to promote positive community involvement through the arts. So our students are able to do that through pottery.
The Empty Bowls dinner of donated soup and bread is Thursday night at the Wayzata High School cafeteria. Students in Brooklyn Center are getting ready for the trip of a lifetime.
People, don't you be afraid. So many years to say.
Northport Elementary choir students are practicing for a performance at the White House. They'll perform in a talent show later this month with other schools that have turnaround arts programs, which uses the arts to create success in challenged schools. All the students are excited for DC and have really enjoyed working together.
And we're gonna put our all in it and try our best and have fun with it.
We all have a nice bond and laugh together every once in a while. Take Nikolai all the time.
Yeah.
The Northport students have been working on their performance for about a month. They're performing a song from the TV show Empire. It's choreographed by Northport students and the principal. Great trip. Still ahead, a Maple Grove business that has seen it all when it comes to damaged cell phones.
And then later in sports, the Maple Grove baseball team takes care of Armstrong to stay in a first-place tie in the Northwest Suburban Conference.
But first, the string of nice weather continues, sunny and 70s on Thursday. Gone are the days when you could get a new cell phone when you signed a new contract.
Instead, new phones can cost hundreds of dollars. And today in Money Savers, we talked to a shop in Maple Grove that says you should check on repairing your phone before replacing it.
Lots of phones seem to go in the lake or in the pool.
At Device Pit Stop in Maple Grove,
we had a fun one the other day. A customer came in who had their phone on the front of their car and drove off with it, and it got ran over on the highway a couple of times, so it's just totally destroyed.
Workers know fixing a phone can actually save the day.
We were able to successfully repair it. It just needed a new screen. We love to play the hero in those kind of stories and really take what can be a very distressful situation for people and turn it around for them.
Max Pallets has been the general manager since the store opened about a year ago.
We live in such a throwaway culture nowadays that every couple of years people seem to be either upgrading or tossing out their old devices, and by upgrading your device and using it longer, it keeps those devices in use longer.
But you can save money by repairing rather than replacing.
It is amazing.
Half of the business here is repairs.
A lot of folks don't know that you can get your screen repaired when it breaks, and you don't have to go out and buy a new phone.
You can also sell your device to get cash.
It can range from, you know, a couple of dollars up to thousands of dollars on more premium products like Apple products, the Microsoft Surface, those sort of newer, hotter items. We pay up to $1,000.
The device is then refurbished.
And that's it.
Which means it is wiped clean of data, inspected, and fixed like new.
You can really save a ton and still get great technology by buying refurbished.
But buying refurbished is where you can really save on a device that might be a few years old, but is guaranteed to work.
We also only use premium parts, so you're going to get a repair that's quality and works as good as your device did when you bought it originally.
So if you want to save money the next time you need a new device, check on a repair first or the price of a refurbished product before buying new.
It's a great way to sort of soften the expense of what's already a really expensive thing and get you the right technology at a great price.
And the store is already preparing for back-to-school season when students get a discount on devices used for learning. Coming up, arrested in Crystal, but for a good cause.
But first, District 279 rivals Park Center in Osseo and Maple Grove compete in track and field. John Jacobson has sports next. Well, it looks like Maple Grove baseball has all the needed ingredients: pitching, hitting, fielding. It's all good, and they showed it again.
Having a good year, and Armstrong now trying to regroup, get ready for the section playoffs that start in a couple of weeks. Armstrong reached the state baseball tournament in each of the past 2 years. Maple Grove's team is playing well this spring. The Crimson battling Champlin Park and Totino Grace right now for the Northwest Suburban Conference lead. Falcons at home for this one, looking for an upset of the Crimson. Top of the first inning, Drew Lewis with a 2-out hit that drives in Josh Wente, capping a 5-run inning for the Crimson. Falcons have a tough day in the field. Charlie Horton's fly ball gets away from the Armstrong outfielder, and Jordan Albers scores for a 6-0 Crimson lead. Top of the third inning, Isaac Collins with a shot to the fence here. He's thrown out going for a triple, but not before Max Marshall and Hayden Thompson score for an 8-0 lead. Maple Grove goes on to win 10-0 in 5. The Crimson, Champlin Park, and Totino Grace all still have just 2 conference losses. Maple Grove has won 5 straight games. The Northwest Suburban Conference track and field meet is next week. Athletes in District 279 have their annual 3-way battle at Park Center Tuesday. In the girls' 300 hurdles, Park Center's Dea Doe in white and green builds a lead and holds on to win in a time of 46.18 seconds. Boys' 300 hurdles is closer. Osseo's Tyler Seelock holds off Kadir Omer Taylor to win by 11/100ths of a second. In the girls' 800 meters, Maple Grove's Jenna Hawk races to the win in a time of 2 minutes 27 seconds as the Crimson go 1-2 on the race. Hawk also won the 1600. In the boys' 800, Maple Grove also takes the top 2 spots. Jack Barber is first in a time of 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Matthew Hempy is second. Girls' 200 meters, Day Zime of Osseo holds off Park Center's Tamara Powell for the win. Her time 26.78 seconds. George Foley of Osseo races to the win in this heat of the boys' 200. As we check the team results, the host Pirates win the girls' meet with Osseo and Maple Grove tying for second place. Osseo takes the boys' title with 80 points. Maple Grove is second, and Park Center is third. At the Lake Conference Championships at Minnetonka, Edina takes the top spot in the boys' meet just ahead of the host skippers. Wayzata is third, but the Trojans are preparing for state true team and didn't use their full lineup yesterday. Eden Prairie and Hopkins tied for fourth. The Minnetonka girls take first with Edina second and Wayzata third. Eden Prairie and Hopkins also tied for fourth in the girls' meet. In girls lacrosse, Champlin Park continues to hold the lead in the Northwest Suburban Conference standings. Rebels carry a 9-0 record into their Wednesday evening game against Blaine. They've beaten every opponent except Osseo Park Center by at least 6 goals. The Rebels are excited with how things are going.
We have a special group of kids. They've grown individually and as a team a lot throughout this last 6 weeks of the season, and we're excited to see what the future holds for them.
I'm pretty excited with how far we've gotten this season. We weren't sure how good we'd be, and we've beaten our record so far for undefeated season. So we're hoping to continue it into sections and hopefully have an undefeated regular season.
It's a busy stretch this week for the Rebels. Starting Wednesday night, they have 3 games in 4 days, capped by a state tournament rematch against Armstrong on Saturday. This will be a good test. Our 12 Sports game crew will be on hand Saturday as the Rebels take on Armstrong. Watch it live on the web at 12.tv or catch the replays at 10 p.m. Monday night on Channel 12 and also on our HD channel 799. A former Champlin Park athlete and veteran pro boxer stepped back into the ring on national television Tuesday night. Heavyweight Joey Abell faced unbeaten John No Fire at Black Bear Casino in northern Minnesota, and Abell dominates the fight, dropping No Fire with a couple of punishing lefts in the 3rd round. It was the 3rd knockdown for Abell in the bout. No Fire's corner threw in the towel. 35-year-old Abell improves to 32-9 as a pro with a TKO win. A little bloody afterwards, though, but he got the win.
All right. Thanks,
Good.
John.
That's good for him. Thank you. Still ahead, getting jailed for a good cause.
Why Crystal City leaders didn't seem to mind getting thrown in the slammer today. We'll be right back. And finally, the charges are a little offbeat, like taking a Hawaiian shirt across state lines. That might be illegal somewhere, right?
Could be, I don't know. But in Crystal, some arrests made today were all designed to raise money for the police department.
You guys need a warrant or something for this. This is not okay. I know my rights. I know my rights.
That's Crystal City Council member Jeff Kolb and Mayor Jim Adams sporting handcuffs and being good sports about allowing themselves to be arrested and then booked as part of the Jail and Bail fundraiser for the Crystal Crime Prevention Board. When these jailbirds raise enough bail to be released, that money becomes a donation, which is used for a number of things the police department needs, including helping to maintain a police canine.
I want a safe community. I have a business here, so I would like our community to be safe. So if we can do anything to make it safe for the businesses, for the residents, for anybody thinking about moving here.
It's very rewarding for all of us, and it isn't about the money. It's about building those relationships, and we really appreciate it.
They hope to raise about $2,000 today. They'll be jailing about 15 people. And of course, they raise the money themselves to get out of jail, which is kind of a cool concept. They've been doing this for about 4 years now, and it's they've raised a lot of money for Crystal Police over the years.
Fun. Just a little bit.
I don't know about the finger thing. Fingerprinting seemed too realistic. But
Too much so.
That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back again here on Thursday.